I saw where Tim Tebow, Alex Smith, and Ryan Leaf among the first-time candidates for the College Football Hall of Fame. That was announced on Monday. And Ryan Leaf happened to be in town. The ESPN college football analyst, also works for SiriusXM, Westwood One, Sky Sports, the former NFL quarterback, number 2 pick overall. All right, rank those quarterbacks. Tim Tebow, Alex Smith, Ryan Leaf in college.
Tim Tebow's probably the greatest college quarterback ever to play, I think.
Okay.
I just think he's the epitome of a college superstar quarterback. So I think he's the best that ever played that position. I really do.
How did he not stay in the NFL?
Well, I think you've been around long enough. You've seen situations just like mine that it depends on where you go, how you deal with things.
But you had talent.
You don't think he had talent?
Not to throw the football.
It was different. It was. But if you go back to college, he found ways to get it done. He found ways to win a playoff game in the NFL. I mean, he found ways to get it done. You were exactly right. He wasn't a pure passer. So you needed somebody to give him a shot. And just teams were not at some point willing to give him any more shots. And that's just the nature of the business.
But how do you throw for 10,000 yards, but you can't throw, Ryan?
That's an interesting concept. I mean, we've seen a ton of college football players that have been incredibly good that just haven't been able to develop at the next level. They didn't have the same type of acumen as they did in college to advance at the NFL. It's just the nature of the beast.
But his throwing motion is not good. It felt like
it's labored. It looks labored. I think a lot of lefties look labored in their throwing. If you look, it just I mean, even Steve Young, even though as pure passer he was, it almost kind of looked labored. And I don't know why, but I think you and I have talked about this before in terms of left-handed quarterbacks and what that means. And in particular, a couple years ago when I was on the show talking about the Tua, Burrow, Herbert draft.
Well, you look at Kenny Stabler, left-handed quarter. Michael Vick could throw a football.
Yeah, he didn't look labored at all.
No. He could throw. But Tua labors.
Yeah, it is. And I always thought that was going to be a bit of a struggle for him at the next level, but he has got some weapons now. So, I mean, there's no excuse when this season's over if it doesn't work out, right? I mean, you're going to move off that spot, and find a new quarterback.
But what would it take for the Dolphins to look at Tua and go, we're gonna keep this together? Like, what numbers or progress with the team do you think you need to see?
I think they'd have to win the division. Those are high expectations. I believe they'd have to win the division to be in that, and they have to go up against the likes of Josh Allen. And,
yeah.
I mean, if that's really tight, if they're able to knock off Allen and it comes down to it and they get in as a wild card, and he's improving year in, I just don't know if anybody, after what they've gone through the last 2 years and kind of the backstabbing that's gone on, I don't know if anybody has any confidence in anybody else right now. Certainly ownership hasn't shown that.
Yeah, I just wonder with Tua that he does have weapons. You got Waddle and now you have Tyreek. Maybe they're so open that he doesn't have to fit it into those tight windows.
He's incredibly accurate, though. That's the one thing I took away from what he did in college. His guys were wide open, don't get me wrong, but he was accurate with the football. So I still believe that's still in him at this level.
Arm strength overrated or underrated in the NFL?
It's overrated. It's special when you have it, Josh Allen being in particular, Patrick Mahomes. But as you see in other positions, other players, I mean, Tom Brady's arm strength isn't necessarily overpowering in any way. But if you look at that last touchdown to Mike Evans in the playoff game, he didn't hesitate on throwing it, 50 yards down the football field and hitting him in stride. So he still can get it done for what he needs to. And he's a perfect showcase of doing it the right way with not the elite arm that a lot of people ooh and ah when they go to the combine.
How much do you think today's NFL and the rules in protecting a quarterback have played into Tom Brady's longevity?
I think it's been a big part of it. It really has. I mean, I look back at Bruce Smith and Reggie White planting me into the ground and Derek Thomas, and I'm like, that would never happen these days, right? But you got to give him a ton of credit in what he's done and how he's transformed his body and the nutrition, the aspect, all those things that he has done. He's put in the work, and then the rules have compensated to help bring him along that he can be 45 and play professional football. I can't believe it. My last collegiate football game was against him in the Rose Bowl, and he couldn't even get on the football field, yet he's still playing. And I have to get up an hour in advance and do calisthenics to make sure I can
if
walk.
I would have told you back then, you're playing at Washington State, you're playing Michigan, and you're the star, and if I would have said, hey, Leaf, you know who the best quarterback is in the Rose Bowl? that guy right over there who's not even playing.
Me and Coach Price, we have an ongoing joke that we always would stand on the field and look at the other quarterbacks warm up beforehand. And I remember telling Coach Price at the time, "See that guy wearing?" And he was wearing number 10. And Brady, you know, toothpicks coming out of his shoulder pads. I'm like, "Coach, that's going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play the game."
It's interesting that Coach doesn't remember you saying that.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, and of course you did.
We had no idea who he was. You know, we were focused on Charles Woodson in that defense, which is rightfully so. But Brian Greasy played a heck of a game that day. It was a wonderful Rose Bowl. But it's ironic, yeah. He was on the field, you know, and then everything that happened. Have you had a chance to watch The Man in the Arena yet?
Some of it, yeah.
I sat down during the pandemic here and just devoured it. And it's from a guy that wasn't able to succeed at the thing he's been great at. It's so interesting to watch it and see him have success, because there's a lot of the things he thinks about and does now that I've put into my life, the way I use my new brain chemistry and things like that. So it makes a lot of sense on how much success he's had.
What advice would you give Baker Mayfield?
I continue to do what he's doing, right? I mean, do not waver at all. He's the one who has all the leverage right now. They've already said, you know, Deshaun Watson is the adult in the room, apparently. And so stay strong, you know, get your money and get a chance somewhere else eventually. I don't know how this is going to play out. They have to release him. He can't be on this roster next year.
But what if you find out Deshaun Watson suspended for the first 8 games of the season or the entire year and you're Baker Mayfield?
I want to play.
I would. It allows you to audition.
What would be the best possible scenario for Baker Mayfield? To play in an offense that he knows. Yeah. Is Kevin Stefanski going to play him after all that's gone on? Of all the crap he has taken this offseason and dished himself? How is this going to be any bit non-chaotic? It may be less chaotic if Baker Mayfield's starting than it would be if Deshaun Watson's starting, but it's going to be chaos. And they're not going to have a chance, I don't think, to be successful if Baker Mayfield's the starting quarterback in Cleveland.
The team that should trade for Baker Mayfield?
I'd like to see him go someplace where he could maybe sit, but I do think Carolina is a place that still can. I am a big fan of Sam Darnold. I still am. I still believe he has something in him. Somebody needs to give him the right opportunity, and I'm hoping that happens in Carolina this year. But if it doesn't, I think that he has a chance to go there and maybe kind of Mitchell Trubisky it.
I don't think he has the ego to Mitchell Trubisky it.
I don't think so either. I think that would be really difficult.
He's a star in his own mind,
and I can relate to that, because when I was in Seattle and Mike Holmgren had me with Matt Hasselbeck and Trent Dilfer and asked me to, hey, sit, learn, you know, be the third string quarterback. My ego wouldn't allow it. I'd always been the starting quarterback, Dan. So how was I going to be anything else? In my mind, I was just like, I'll quit. I quit. And that's what I did. So I get.
Wait, you quit instead of being the third string quarterback?
Yeah. I could have played look at what backup quarterbacks make these days and play for years, right? Yeah. My ego, my pride was so overwhelming, and I was so sick at the time. I was so mentally ill. I was so depressed. I couldn't admit to Coach Holmgren and say, hey, I'm really struggling here. Can you help me? Instead, I just said, I'm gone.
We're talking to Ryan Leaf. He works for ESPN doing college football games, also works for Sirius XM, Westwood One, Sky Sports, and, of course, the former number 2 overall pick by the Chargers, 1998 draft. NIL, when you were at Washington State, how would you have handled money at Washington State?
Well, it probably would have exacerbated the character defects that would come later when money came earlier, and maybe gave me a chance to learn. But I was talking to an individual about my time in college the other day, and I was looking for some negative things, like some red flags, some things that, without hindsight, you know, hindsight's easy for people to go back. Oh, there wasn't that. People didn't think that. I won. I was competitive. I think the biggest red flag, and the only one that maybe existed, is I wasn't a captain. Why isn't the quarterback, who's the leader of this team, supposedly, why isn't he the captain of the football team? That may have been the biggest red flag. Other than that,
why weren't you the captain?
I wasn't well liked. You know, I didn't work as hard in the weight room and things like that. Things came easy to me, and I just expected maybe more from my teammates than they thought I gave back in return. And the two guys that were voted captains were well liked. I was named captain for the Rose Bowl. I think that was more of a doing for Mike Price because of what we had accomplished and got there. But I think that's something that that scouts and coaches look at now when they're going through the draft process, if that's the case.
I always think of Draft Day, the movie, the Cleveland Browns with Kevin Costner, and they passed on the quarterback O'Callahan because he wasn't the team captain and wanted to know why he wasn't. And so I always think about that when is that based on you?
I didn't get any royalties from it. I know they say my name, and I know Jennifer Garner. I wonder if Jennifer Garner even knew who I was when she's made the comment.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, probably not.
But she knew Tom Brady.
Yeah, of course. Everybody knows Tom Brady. Maybe it was. Who knows? Like I said, I didn't get any.
But how much does arrogance play in the role? And maybe arrogance isn't the right word, but do you need to be arrogant to a certain degree?
I think there's a fine line between what you call arrogance and maybe just total confidence in what you can do.
Like Dan Marino, to me, had an arrogance to him. Like he just had that attitude.
And I did too.
Elway?
I did too. And when I was successful, the difference is there's individuals who can have that swagger, can have that arrogance, and fail, and still find their way through it. When I failed, I blew the whole thing up, right? I was going Mach 10, with my hair on fire and taking everybody with me. If you weren't with me, and that's the difference. And so when I'm out speaking all the time now, I talk about that. I'm gonna talk about it's not about the circumstance anymore. It's about how you deal with it. Period. And there are a ton of individuals, I think, at the quarterback position that deal with failure tremendously better than those of us back then, me in particular.
Because that's what I wonder about Baker Mayfield. Is he wired to be a backup? Can he hit a reset button, given that personality, the chip on your shoulder? I mean, Ryan Tannehill did it, but Ryan Tannehill was wired differently than Baker Mayfield. Jameis Winston was able to sort of rewire himself. Marcus Mariota didn't have to rewire himself. It's the same kind of personality there. But, I mean, those are examples of ones who could and ones who couldn't.
Incredibly difficult, especially when you're that high of a draft pick. The expectations that come with it.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for Marcus Mariota in Atlanta. I think it's going to be hard. I think Jameis Winston was coming along last year before the injury, but I think that's incredibly difficult unless you're able to humble yourself. If he's able to do that, which I think a lot of people who know him or see him from afar don't believe that's possible, then I would expect the guy to maybe bounce around and be a journeyman or maybe even just be out of the NFL.
The 49ers situation, I'm trying to figure this out because they're playing a dangerous game here. I think Garoppolo needs to stay and be the quarterback there. I think he's a good quarterback. He's not great. He's good. Trey Lance, I just don't think he's ready, and I don't know why they went all in on him.
Yeah.
And when you go all in, we want to see you right away because it's like, we went all in on you. You better – I mean, his nickname is One Play Trey because he had one play so far in his NFL career. I hadn't heard that one. I'm a little concerned about that.
I would be concerned too if you're 49ers fans out there. This guy could be the number 3 overall draft pick and not play in his first 2 seasons, right? I mean, when they moved heaven and earth to get it done. I'm with you. I'm a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I battle with people who he's a guy that's played in big games now. He hasn't made the big plays in those moments, and that's why the criticism can stand and can hold, because in the biggest moments of the biggest games, he hasn't come through. It's a big reason why teams who watched him overthrow that pass in the Super Bowl against Kansas City understand what they have to do to get to the next level at the quarterback position. And that's why you see such big moves to get it done. So I think it speaks volumes and says a lot more about what Trey Lance has been in San Francisco than what's going on with Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest.
When you're Matthew Stafford and you, I'm not going to say get out of jail, you get out of Detroit and you get a chance to play with, some really talented players there. Like, I don't know if do you try to do less because you tried to do more in Detroit? And that can be kind of a dangerous approach to the game.
And I think there was some growing pains midseason. I called I called the Tennessee Rams game, the Sunday night football game after Derrick Henry had got injured and was out. And I was looking all week at how this Titans team was going to be able to slow down, first off, Matthew Stafford in this offense, and then do anything offensively against that great defense. And, to your point, Matthew Stafford tried to do way too much. He tried to be the Detroit version of himself. And when talent is around you, you don't. You have to just do what you do naturally. And we saw that come out in the Super Bowl. A couple of those throws late in the game. That was just the let it rip, let it go Matthew Stafford. And in that game I called, Kevin Byard just knew what was going on, and he took advantage of what Matthew Stafford was trying to accomplish in terms of being Detroit Matthew, and they got beat at home. And I was just astonished when I was in the booth there that night. But that's what Sean McVay allows for Matthew Stafford, just to be him, and they can win. Don't try to be more. Be who you are. The talent is abundant here in Los Angeles.
Aaron Donald is he's an interesting case study because, he went in the mid-first round. You look at his draft profile, 6 foot tall, all this stuff. But we keep looking for the next Mahomes, the next Bosa, the next. I haven't heard anybody say we're looking for the next Aaron Donald.
I mean, it's hard to. These diamonds in the rough are there for a reason because they've been successful, right? You don't. I'm the prototypical size, arm strength of a quarterback, physicality wise. Aaron Donald isn't. He's not what you look for, and that's not the number 1 overall draft picks on the defensive front, right? You don't have these pass rushers, the likes of Trayvon Walker, who went number 1 this year. He doesn't look like Aaron Donald. He looks like a beast. He looks like Michael Strahan, right? That's what they're searching for. If you were able to find a guy like Aaron Donald, by all means, but I don't think they don't grow on trees, so you don't see them being plucked because they don't exist.
How many Hall of Famers sacked you?
Strahan, Reggie White, Derek Thomas, Bruce Smith.
Who hit you the hardest?
Ray Lewis. Lacerated my spleen.
Oh. Do you know in the moment?
No, I thought I cracked a rib and maybe punctured my lung or something like that. I was spitting up blood. It was that 2000 Ravens team, and we lost 24-3 in Baltimore.
How good was that defense?
So good. 3-step drop. Saragusa, those guys were in on me. Rod Woodson was playing safety at the time. I mean, I got to play against some pretty good teams in the history of football. I remember we were playing Carolina, and it was when Reggie White was in Carolina, and I had one of my better games, but I moved around the pocket one time and got away, and I was being held by my leg by somebody, and I just reared back and threw one about 60 yards down the field to Jeff Graham, and he makes a great catch. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice as he stands up, and everybody knows Reggie White's voice. Damn, Leaf, you a big boy. I'll always remember that to this day, rest his soul. So I got to play against some pretty good ones.
Yeah. He might be their greatest defensive player of all time.
He may be, and that was at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers probably sits in that position. Luke Kuechly, you could probably say, just the impact. But yeah, I mean, he was a difference maker. He changed the way that position was played.
Yeah. I mean, we think of Lawrence Taylor. There's a couple of guys you think of with the modern day football, modern day NFL, but Aaron Donald's in that conversation. Is he better than J.J. Watt, career-wise?
Oh yeah, he's won a championship. So
okay, but
that's the measuring stick for me in a lot of ways, and I think it is for a lot of people.
He avoided injuries too because J.J.'s had.
J.J. hasn't, but I mean, how many Defensive Player of the Year awards has Donald won? 2?
I think 2, and JJ's got 3. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could, apples and oranges there. I just, in his prime, J.J. Watt, in his ability, his athletic ability to get up and knock balls down and intercept the football and things like that. I mean, they made different impacts, but you could compare them.
Okay, but at their peak.
Aaron Donald's he's a guy that
Aaron Donald has 3.
He has 3?
Yeah.
Okay,
3.
they're the same.
So they both have 3.
Yeah, I would say Aaron Donald in his prime. Just the way he effectively changes the game. JJ did that, don't get me wrong, But they were able to neutralize him from time to time. It's been hard for teams to figure that out against Aaron Donald. And you got to give Raheem Morris a ton of credit because he was being neutralized in the first half of that Super Bowl. They found a way to get one-on-one matchups in the second half to set him free and let him loose.
It's great to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
I'm glad my family got to see him. MacGyver, I think last time was like 1 year old. So.
Now, you really did name your son MacGyver.
Mm-hmm. It fits him to a T.
I remember when he said that, Paulie goes, "You'll never guess Leaf named his kid." And I go, Ryan? He goes, "No, MacGyver." I go, "No, he didn't." He goes, "No, he named him MacGyver."
Yeah.
Was it your idea?
This is a funny story. My parents were in town, and they came over and they said, let's put a list together of names. So Anna, my wife, was, throwing some names against the wall, and one of the names she threw was just MacGyver. Mom chuckled a little bit and had a little laugh. And then when we got the list that night, and Anna and I were looking at it, I go, she didn't put MacGyver down. And I looked over at Anna, and she goes, "Oh, MacGyver's his name."
Oh.
So it's kind of a spiteful name at first, and now it's become like this amazing
MacGyver.
And my mom's the first to say it's exactly, everybody loves it. It fits him perfectly. There's a lot of nicknames with it. He's going to be a giant. He's going to be like 6'9", I think. So proud of him.
MacGyver. Great to see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. It's Ryan Leaf, ESPN college football analyst and nominee for the College Football Hall of Fame. We'll take a break. Phone calls coming up. Adam Sandler in a little bit. Dan Patrick Show.
So, Dan, we're going to play a little game. Without looking, can you tell who's throwing the ball? Like,
you're so you just close your eyes and you just hear it.
You're going to look this way. So you're going to stand over here. And so one of us will throw, and then the other one will throw. And just, Seton, you want to be the guy?
Be the guy?
Seton's not going to throw?
I'll be this guy.
He's going to catch.
Well, I mean, everybody knows this cannon's going to win.
You're right.
So,
All right.
Okay.
All right, here is the first guy.
That felt like it was Ryan.
I think I hurt my shoulder on that one. I think I hurt.
I told you to warm up.
What are you doing?
I told you to warm
just
up.
can't fire.
Are you all right?
Fritzy, you want to go?
What do you... Who warms up that way? By not warming up.
That was my warm-up. I see Brady's already got up here at the new uniform.
Yeah.
It's just a dig route.
Dig round. Oh, yeah. All right.
Ask it.
Let Todd. Go ahead, Todd. Let me see. Speaking of left-handers, don't
you look
touch.
Todd, you look labored.
Here we go.
Am I throwing it to you or just throwing it to the wall?
Throw it to him.
Throw it to to me.
Throw it to him.
Ooh! Okay. Accurate.
Okay.
Good spiral.
Okay.
That's a left-hander. Accurate.
Now,
Very good.
Now-
Kenny Pickett's up next.
That's
Okay.
Put your hands up next to Marvin, Ryan.
See, this is where.
Okay. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Marvin, trying to slide him up.
Slowly like this.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, we got another lefty here. I get it.
Are you one more throw around?
All right. Let me.
There's a little fella upset
let me
right
get
over
one
there
more
because
here.
he can sling it a little bit. Mario.
Oh, Mario can
Mario
throw.
can sling it.
Mario can throw it. Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. Look at that.
Hunter Renfro.
Yeah. Also felt like that finger broke.
Yeah.
Sounded like it.
Yeah. I'm going to blame that on Seton.
Yeah, that's the wrong route.
You got to lay out.
Come on, you gotta get that read. Finish the round. Stop short.
If you care.
Megatron there, right?
I like when Hunter Renfro does that.
Oh, crap.
Like the thing where he kind of twists his
He
body.
got a new contract.
Yeah. Who?
Renfro. Who would've
Oh,
thought?
yeah. You got a 2-year deal.
I was down there speaking at Clemson a couple years ago, and this guy sitting in the front row, and it looks like an insurance salesman that just like came into like
Hair's going back.
He's going bald. And,
Got 100 catches last year.
yeah, maybe one of the best slot receivers in the
He's
NFL.
good,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's good.
Clear.